All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again introducing you to the topic from access to action, unlocking affordable insurance on ONDC. As I call the speakers on stage, first I would like to invite Mr. Hrushikesh Mehta, SVP Financial Service Open Network for Digital Commerce, ONDC. Mr. Mayank Batwal, CEO, Aditya Birla Health Insurance. And I would request Mr. Mohit, VP Product Financial Service, AI Open Network for Digital Comments, our moderator, to please be here. Kartik is also there. All right, I would also request Mr. Kartik Podar, Chief Business Officer, Simbo Insurance. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Post-lunch, this is the session. I'm hoping a good energy in this room. Once again, warm welcome to others who have just joined. Please step forward. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Where's the deck? Hoping to keep all of you awake and sort of give you a glimpse into what's brewing up in the insurance space, right, on ONDC network. I'll just probably this is more of a reiteration from what we've done in our earlier sessions as well. So our overall sort of focus in FS, as we call it, right, at ONDC, is across the three segments: credit, insurance, and investments. And each of them, I think, have a sort of a specific goal, right, when it comes to a life cycle of any particular individual. Credit in terms of driving income generation, insurance in terms of providing resilience, in terms of providing sort of financial protection, and then investments to build wealth over there, right? So we've covered credit and investment in our earlier sort of sessions, and I would encourage you to kind of go through some of those as well, in case you haven't already. I think today's focus is going to be on insurance and what sort of, I'll just give you a quick understanding of where we are, right? And what are some of the things that we are doing. And also let some of the early believers, some of the early adopters, right, walk through their implementations on the ONDC insurance network as well there, right? We'll also do a panel discussion, and I think we have 3 participants there, which we'll sort of cover immediately after this update there. Okay, so ONDC, as you may be aware, it's sort of building out low-cost infrastructure which provides connectivity between distributors and manufacturers. And this is sort of simple framework that is applicable across domains, in financial services, outside of financial services as well. ONDC builds standard protocols, which are pretty much API standards, right, built on base backend layer. And these sort of protocols kind of plug in buyer application on the demand side and then seller application on the sell side. So very simply speaking, it's a simple, elegant sort of framework out there. There is a buyer finder fee, which actually provides a commercial incentive for the distributor to kind of operate on the network. So from day one, our focus has been on building it out in a manner that is commercially remunerative for both the manufacturers as well as the distributors there. Right? Going ahead. Now, this is sort of give you a sense of where we stand today. And I think to be, in all honesty, insurance has been the hardest of them all, right? It's been a slow burn. Over the last 1.5 years, we've sort of built out supply. Our focus has been on building out supply, which is getting insurers on the network. The initial focus has been on general insurance. So health and motor insurance are the 2 segments that we started focusing on. We have 5 insurers that are now live on the network, which includes Bajaj Allianz, Aditya Birla Health Insurance, Royal Sundaram, Universal Sompo, and Go Digit. And then another 6 insurers that are in the sort of near final phase of integration, which we expect by December this year. We'll have a good sort of 10, 11 insurer network on the supply side there. On the buy side, there are 3 sort of brokers that are already live. And we also have distribution enablers. Like these are like digital distribution enablers, such as the likes of, I think we have one of the participants today, Clinic 360, and I'll let Aman sort of cover what they do in detail. But these participants play a crucial role because they kind of built out sort of a crucial stack on top of the ONDC network that facilitates and enables smaller distributors to kind of leverage the network much faster than they would have been otherwise there as well, right? So a couple of them, Simbo Insurance, another one, Kartik represents them today. The good part is that the transactions have started, both for health as well as motor. They have been tested successfully. In fact, only yesterday, one of the first motor, insurers, Universal Sompo, right? They sort of started transactions with Nivesh as the buyer application. So that validates that the protocols work. And going ahead, our focus would be on scaling up transactions as well as scaling up the network participants on the network itself there, right? There have been certain challenges, and we wanted to be sort of candid about them and then kind of discuss them with the, with the audience also today, and some of our learnings as well. Some of them basically related to sort of delays when it comes to onboarding complexity, and this is, when insurers try to kind of onboard smaller distributors, there's paperwork, there is a lot of compliance over there, and that leads to about 3 to 6 months of effort over there, which we think can be standardized. A lot of it is avoidable if we standardize, and then we can sort of derive economies of scale over there. The second thing, the decentralized architecture itself is novel for the industry, especially in this particular domain, so that typically ends up kind of in conversations with the legal, compliance, tech folks, multiple conversations, which take a lot of time in terms of getting that buy-in from an implementation perspective. And then finally, any network, it requires a threshold adoption, both on the buy side and sell side. So in this particular case, the distributors, I mean, they kind of, a lot of them are sitting on the fence over there that, okay, fine, once you have a sizable insurer supply base, I think that's where we will start, the transactions over there as well, because then that's what gives them, choices, that's what gives them the supply over there as well. So I think these are some of the challenges on the overall and our learnings as well. Now, one of the demands asked from the industry was that why don't we do sachet, because that is something which is, there is a strong tailwind in the market, and then there's adoption also, a lot more flexible options are available in the industry. So we actually released the beta protocols this year, in August this year. And the good part is the first implementations are now live, and I'll not steal your thunder, Kartik and Jayan as well. I'll let them sort of talk about what they've built in this space. And you can see the participants that they're in the first wave out there itself. And the protocols are pretty much available for anyone to build upon now itself there, right? In terms of our focus areas for next 12 months, broadly, I think classified into 3 or 4 buckets. One, our focus would be on digitizing traditional distributors, as well as enabling new breed of distributors who may sort of operate in completely different markets that do not even exist today there, right? And I think this is where players such as Clinic 360, Saiba, even Simbo, I think we sort of look forward to your support in terms of building that out. Our focus would also be on working with insurers and building out products that are low cost, and I think that's where in faster innovation cycles, faster iteration would play a crucial role, experimentation would play a crucial role. We've started sort of working with insurers such as Aditya Birla Health Insurance, Care Insurance on that front. And then focus is going to be on expanding sachet insurance, because a bunch of other domains on ONDC, from logistics to credit and mutual funds also, I think this is where there's an opportunity to kind of attach relevant products over there, and that can be distributed on the network itself, right? So that's broadly, I think, what it is, and I'll sort of just hand over to Rushi to sort of run the panel there now.
Thanks for that, Mohit. So look, we found, when we were doing the research initially, on whether to do this category or not, the numbers are out there for everyone. I think it's like some 4% premiums to GDP in terms of penetration, where like maybe in developed countries, it's anywhere between 15 to 25%. So I mean, that itself, like we did similar things. So, credit is obvious, everyone wants credit. But what we realized, everyone says that insurance is a push product, like you have to sell it to the customer. But like you take people in this room, nobody is being pushed insurance. You're going to go seek it out and buy it, right? Or a better deal or whatever. And the difference is, because we buy a higher ticket products, people are willing to educate us, and there are enough commissions being paid for it to be worth everyone's while. So, in that, we've got one manufacturer and one technology player come distributor, right? And the question, I guess, and I'll start maybe with Mayank. So the idea is, like, how can you bring down, so in group, yes, you have smaller ticket sizes, and I don't think we do, and I'm happy to be corrected, in retail as yet. So for someone to buy a 25 to 50,000 rupee policy, I mean, what my learning is typically, your 10% of your monthly salary is what you're willing to pay for an annual premium, right? And this is, I'm not an insurance expert, but from what you see. So how do we do that for someone who makes 20,000 rupees a month? The cities are saturated, so how do you take this outside? And what can you guys do to help us create these products with the market?
Yeah, I think you're right, Rushi. I don't think so. If we try and sell 25,000 products through the ONDC platform, I don't think that's the right experimentation to do at all, because I think consumer will like to do a lot more research for those kind of products. I think the first effort on a platform like ONDC should be to bring in smaller ticket size, embedded, sachet, smaller, event-based, and those kind of offerings. And they can definitely be, experimented with. There are some regulatory frameworks to try and experiment products. I think it's a lot more open than it used to be earlier, but there are structures through which we can experiment very, very fast. And I think that's what we should do. We can create 200 rupees product, 500 rupee product. I don't think so that is a problem today. I was just talking to Mohit earlier that looking at your kind of entire buyer app ecosystem today, I think we can, what we need to do is that how do we contextualize an element of protection to the kind of transactions that are starting to happen at scale in the ONDC ecosystem, and then, build, and design offerings which actually protect those specific events. I think I've shared this earlier in some platform, but we used to do like 3-4 rupee products on the Ola ecosystem. We were writing 200,000 coverages a day, to protect, those rides during COVID. Why can't those kind of offerings be done? Absolutely, they can be done. Sure. Let's not even try and get into 25,000. Right. The other thing that can be done, is also, I think if there are opportunities where we find that there are, let's say, buyer ecosystem who don't want to go through the hassle of becoming a full-fledged distributor, I think there are ways to solve that problem also. For example, there could be players like Simbo who could solve some of that problem. And even if you want to, solve directly, I think the regulator will be more than open because they want to kind of expand the health insurance play for sure now. So they are very willing to look at, modifying some of the regulatory framework also if need be.
It's great to hear that. So, we are now getting actually inbound inquiries that we want to distribute insurance. So I think what we'll do is take up, maybe even request you all to host us because we don't have an office in Bombay, but we'll bring maybe a few of the players
more
to
than
you.
Happy, anytime.
And we can, because this is the cool part of this job, right? Like, you get to chart the future. You don't have to live within the guardrails of what's current. So
make one of the rooms ONDC room if you want in our office.
No, I don't want to come every day, but thanks for that. So we'll definitely in the next few weeks I'll help set that up because there've been a few large, and there've been some changes in the last few weeks where some of the gaming companies now are pivoting to finance. So and they need to do it on an existential basis. So it's happening very quickly. With that, Kartik, I'll ask you like a similar question. Like, you've also been around for a while, and I know we are starting with some of these sachet products like Mayank described, but what else can we do? Because look, our challenges are, like in our job descriptions, to go chase the new, however hard it is, and however sometimes we get called delusional as well. So what is it that you think we can do to help drive this ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think I completely agree with Mayank's point that embedding a relevant and intuitive insurance product in the transaction is the quickest win. Like that's how Simbo has built its business. We do 70 lakh policies a month just doing that. Okay, but that's easy. Yeah, as ONDC transactions grow, insurance business will continue to grow along with it. But where the fun or the challenge lies, so to say, is marrying the customer requirement with what is available out there, keeping regulatory framework in mind. So let me kind of break this into an example. There is all sorts of people in the country, and there is all sorts of insurance products available. You can structure, restructure. How do you get the most relevant construct to the most relevant person is the problem which a network like ONDC can solve because you have so many participants and you have so much data. For example, let's say a 20,000, 25,000 rupee health insurance policy being sold to somebody who's a daily wage laborer, right? If you even show him, he's not even, he's not ready to even understand what is going on. But if you tell him, hey, if there is rain, if there is pollution, and you can't go to work, I'll take care of your dihadi. Now that is easy to understand, right? That is affordable. And that is how you get these customers started on their insurance journey. And that is the expectation someone like we would have from ONDC. Because, I mean, selling motor health, there are 100 people doing it. But creating these unique products which are relevant is where I think the adoption for the middle Bharat, so to say, will come about.
So, Mayank, another question for you. So, in our experience with doing this, and I won't name the company, but I actually convinced them to get a license. And the principal officer failed the exam and tried multiple times. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with this now. So, like, what my realization is, group is easier to execute, because the entry point is easier. The distributor per se doesn't need a certification. Is there something, I know this is more abstract now, but is there something we can do? Because, it's not the 70,000 rupee cost, but or the 35,000 rupees or whatever it is, it's the 70 hours of exams and study and pass, and then the compliance seems heavier than what we've seen in the other categories, right? Is there something we can change? Because look, we also hold the delusion that if we basically go and speak to enough people, whether it's in Delhi or Hyderabad or whatever, at some point you can drive a change. Like we've done that, in one case. So what is it that you think we could do because the entry point needs to be made easier. So what is it that we can do to do that in insurance?
Yeah, see, as I said, there are 2-3 ways to do this. You spoke about the product structures, right? There are retail, you can offer retail through something called a group kind of umbrella around it. Now, it's absolutely fine to do that. There are 2 reasons why we should, I strongly recommend we should do it under the group umbrella in the beginning because of 2 reasons. Our ability to experiment fast is there under the group umbrella because retail products, they have a different regime in terms of regulatory approval, et cetera. Whereas under the group, you can have very, very fast and agile experimentation. You can put in 8, 9, 10 different structures, different kind of offerings, different designs, see what is working, see what's not working. And then if you find that something is working, convert that into, if you want a retail, if at all there's a need. I don't necessarily see that there's. And the second thing is, to some extent, it solves the issue of distribution, though I think there are other ways also to solve the distribution problem. And I do believe that whilst there will be a lot of buyer side kind of expectation, demand to monetize their current capabilities through insurance, not all of them will want to necessarily go through the whole hassle of distribution, compliance, etc. Because, not that it's bad or wrong. It's just that, they don't want, their core business is something else, they want to monetize and the core reason is monetization. I think that there are many ways to solve that problem. Happy to have conversations with those entities who are kind of staying away because of that as an inhibition. I think we can find ways to solve that. It's a long subject, so I don't want to get into details here, but it's solvable.
No, but I'll take you up on that. I will bring, I'm saying committing now, I'll bring 2-3 relatively large distribution points and set this up. Now, just in the interest of time, the last question I have, and I'll just give you what we're doing in say, credit, and potentially we'll follow that up with investment. So, in credit, one of the problems was that onboarding of the LSP, so it's the distribution, is on the lender. And it was creating a prioritization issue because they'd only onboard large partners because it cost them money and compliance and all. So they said, "Aap kyun nahi karte?" So we are now actually on the path to doing that we will onboard the LSPs and the single audit report will be available to all the lenders to meet the DLG guidelines, right? And we're building some central infra. So they have to whitelist only one place versus many. When I mentioned this to SEBI, they're saying, "Ye aap mutual funds ke liye kyun nahi karte?" So along similar lines, is there something we can do, and this may not happen in the next year or 2, but is there something you think we can do where as a government-backed entity where we're not doing this from a profit motive, that we can provide some real infrastructure to the industry? We're happy to take the feedback, and again, we hold the delusion that we can go and convince people to do it. So is there anything similar or even something else that you think we can do to help the industry?
Yeah, I think, Rushi, my request will be that in the beginning, when we are trying this, let's try a few things. And if a certain model has worked, you're seeing that it's working really well in lending. I mean, let's have conversations with relevant stakeholders to have, and I don't know what effort will be required to kind of really make that work. But if it's not too much of an effort, then why not try that and see what works, what doesn't?
Sure.
Because I don't, see, even in the products, I don't profess to say hey, I know this is going to work, hey, I know this is going to work. I know directionally what's likely to work.
Right.
But then try a few things and see what really,
Sure.
really clicks. And that is what platforms like ONDC actually offer as an opportunity to all relevant part of the ecosystem. Final consumers, sellers, buyers, tech, and what you just said. So my kind of bias will be towards experimenting a lot.
No, that's music to our ears. So, I mean, we are an experiment by definition, right? So Kartik, over to you. I mean, as for a last comment before, in the interest of time, we'll stop.
No, so 100%. A lot of times we also kind of run into issues with our partners where they want to do something but not sure how to go about it. There are ways and mechanisms to keep compliance in check while experimenting at the same time. And great to have someone like ONDC be a voice for us as well on our behalf. Like there's one more guy in the room who's shouting and cheering for us. So I'm sure you guys have that weight in that room. But like you said, like if somebody wants to get started, does not want to get into the hassles of compliance, there are mechanisms available. And I'm sure a lot of people in the audience who come from the broking or insurtech backgrounds would understand how to structure this together. So my request to all of you would be get onto the platform. There is a lot of new experiments happening. And if we all collectively put our minds to it, I'm sure we'll be able to solve the product problem, the user problem, and of course, the compliance problem.
Great, thanks. So I'll just close by saying before we hand over to the demos, that we are available at fs@ondc.org. No use case is too small or big for us to discuss. There's this perception that, maybe we won't have time. Our job is to explore the new. So please reach out, and we are happy to facilitate the conversations. You've heard it. I mean, Mayank is the CEO of Aditya Birla Health, right? He's saying he's willing to experiment. There's nothing to fear. We can build the first use case. Hopefully next year we can demo all the experimentation that we've done and what's scaled and what's not. Because I honestly, and I say this not in jest, this is my annual review, not the one we have at work. Because if we are able to fill rooms, we had not even filled the room half as much last year. If next year we need a bigger room, then we are a success or we're not, right? So thank you, and you know where to reach us. And now we'll show you some of the things we've already built. And obviously, so with the handing over.
I think
Thanks, Mayank and Kartik.
Thanks, Mayank, and thanks, Kartik. Thank you. Right. Yeah, we can just take one photograph right there. Yeah. Thank you. So we're going to be demonstrating the logistics insurance, as one of the use cases. And I think this is particularly sort of relevant from a perspective of commerce that's happening on the network as well, where third-party logistics is a service that is available for smaller sellers. I'll let Kartik from Simbo and Abey from Pro Routing kind of talk about it. And over to you guys there.
Awesome, thank you. All right, guys, so time for ONDC's first review meeting. You guys can score how well they've done based on this implementation. Okay, so as you can see, 3 parties, and there's Bajaj Alliance General Insurance as well, 4 parties coming together to create something which is absolutely necessary for not just the players who are active on ONDC, but overall e-commerce industry to grow. I'll give you a quick demo of that. So what we are launching today, right after this, is basically transit insurance, which is being powered on the ONDC network. To give you a quick background, let's say today, I get an order. Let's say somebody orders this jacket, and I'm a seller shipping this from Bombay to, let's say, Delhi. Now, while there are logistics companies on ONDC who will power the transit, but as a seller, I'm concerned that what happens if any damages happen in transit, if the shipment is lost, if it is stolen. So as a seller, there is inhibition for me to adopt this platform, right? And that is what we are collectively solving with the launch of transit insurance. So quick background about Simbo. I think you guys now know pretty much what we do. Primarily focus on embedded insurance. We do about 70 lakh policies a month, making us amongst the largest in this space. Okay, so, and now the 3 ecosystem players, ONDC, we've given you a quick background. Pro Routing is one of the logistics company partners on ONDC. So when a seller places an order, it actually comes to Pro Routing, and then Pro Routing in turn has integrated with multiple logistics companies that power their services on the ONDC network. And then comes Simbo, where if a seller chooses, let's say, I want to transfer this goods from DTDC, for example, but hey, what happens if the goods is lost, which is where Simbo comes in, where the seller can just, by the click of a button, opt in to secure their shipment, all happening within the ONDC Rails ecosystem, right? So it's extremely intuitive. There is not a lot of integrations that the players need to do, and that is what we made live today. Now, why this is important is, one of the key reasons why e-commerce still is not growing at the pace at which we'd like it to is because there is obviously a lot of logistics challenge. A lot of companies have tried to solve for warehousing, transit, and so on, but how do you solve for trust, right? If I'm a seller, I'm getting orders, but hey, what happens if my goods are lost? So you can't solve for trust so easily, and that is, in fact, one of the key reasons as highlighted where e-commerce is not growing, and that is where the solution comes into play. So what typically happens, a little bit of a technical slide is, there is the insurer, and then there are multiple insurers which will eventually get plugged in. Simbo is acting as a technology partner on behalf of the insurers. The moment a merchant places an order on the ONDC network, it goes through pro routing, and then there are multiple such logistics companies. The merchant can select any logistics partner. It could be Shiprocket, DTDC, FedEx, whoever that might be on the network. And that call then comes to Simbo, which then orchestrates the communication between the insurers and throws the right insurance product for them. Too complicated. I know it took me also 15 days to understand how this works, so which is why I'll call Abey to give a live demo so that you can see in action.
Hi, my name is Abey. Yeah, he's too tall, yeah, so. Hi, my name is Abey, and I have my co-founder here and also the ONDC logistics team here who have been supportive of us. And we are very excited to partner with another arm of ONDC. So we are entirely built on ONDC Rails, okay? Today, as on today, on the merchant side, we largely work on APIs. Our clients are the likes of Zepto, Big Basket, and small players also, even the smallest one, like Paradise Biryani, all of these guys, small merchants. I can name smaller players. All of these are merchants, okay? On the other side, you have Ola, Loadshare, Shadowfax, and a number of other LSPs. We are helping in ensuring the product. So what you probably don't know is that a lot of losses happen in transit today. So we have something called SPMD, single pickup multi-drop. There's FIFO now, we have just launched first in, first out operation, which is largely used in quick commerce. All of these require insurance. As on today, it is sometimes borne by the rider. He will lose the item, he's penalized. What we really want to see is that insurers come in and, formalize this, which is running, and it's like the informal credit versus formal credit. So today it's informal insurance by the riders at times. That has to change to what is being done here. Okay, we can move to the next slide. So while 95% or 98% of our orders today are happening on APIs, this is a simulation I can show you how it works today on. We first capture the, this is a store. From store, say Galaxy Mart, they put in their source, there's a destination, they put their bill number, etc. And order amount, this is the amount to be insured. And they, in the process, also say, hey, you know what, I want insurance. So they will select transit insurance. They've done. Now what happens, we fire a request on the ONDC network. This is a real-time search, say, happening. This is a recorded one, but then there's a real-time search on the network. Now, two LSPs have responded, and we have now confirmed the order to them. So you can see as we go down that there is a quote here, there's a 5 rupee transit insurance fee. So totally 62 rupees 54 paisa is now charged to the merchant. So as simple as that, now the 600 rupees is insured, which was previously at risk. So that's about it, guys. Thanks a lot.
So I would, I think thanks, Abey, for that complete context. I would request Jayan and the care team, and also, I think the Create Heart team as well, Tarun, to kind of join as well. Please come over here.
Good afternoon. So, like Mohit said, Jayan, I'm Jayan Matthews. I'm one of the co-founders of Senkov. Senko that is now has started building a journey on the loan and lending journey for ONDC, which is one of the largest growing sectors. And we're working with our AriseFin, which is part of the Credit Heart, and which is the co-founder, the founders here. Tanuj is our founder, who's from AriseFin that runs this. And everyone was talking about, there is a significant amount of growth that we've seen in ONDC on digital lending, and it is just apt that protection enters this particular segment at this point of time. And that's where loan protection comes in. Seamless integration because it's ONDC powered, and it's a quick implementation that's coming in, and this is what we are trying to do. About the two organizations, I'll just give Tanuj the mic just to introduce AriseFin and what they're doing with ONDC.
Yeah, so Jayan, thanks a lot, and thanks for the ONDC team to organize this. My name is Tanuj. I'm the founder of Credit Heart. I know the brand over here is AriseFin, so just a little bit of a background. Credit Heart was started about 5 years ago. We've primarily in our life operated as a digital lender, working with digital lenders and NBFCs to power their digital loans to the LMI segment, which is low and middle income groups. So traditionally, our presence has been more in the segments that earn, let's say, less than about 35,000 rupees as an income, and power them with loans which are, on an average ticket size of about 30K or so. What we have done with ONDC is launch a new brand, which is AriseFin, powered by ONDC as the primary rails that allows us to, piggyback on the large network of lenders that they've built up. So yeah, that's the brand, and we've partnered with Senko to power the ONDC, the insurance rails, in terms of embedding the insurance to protect the borrowers that are borrowing on our platform.
Yeah. So Senko is it stands for Sensible Covers, and it's wonderful to work with a sensible platform that kind of orchestrates this whole thing. Insure1 is the platform, is our tech platform of Senko that allows these rails to be built. And like I said, there is opportunity, like Mayank just mentioned, right, across different verticals, whether it is travel, logistics, fintech, or e-commerce. And the good thing is, I think the ONDC journey of setting up sachet insurance is actually following this path also. And this is where Senko comes in. We are specialized in embedded insurance out here. Just a quick idea what's going to happen with ONDC integrated. There is a buyer app that includes all the customer-facing journeys. That is your logistics, travel portals, fintechs, and even e-commerce portals that are there on ONDC. They are the buyer apps where the customers and the consumers are coming there. There are the supplier apps, that's the insurers, that are providing all the sachet insurance policies. And there is a role to be played by the third-party service providers like us that kind of orchestrate this whole journey by using the protocols that are set by ONDC. And that's where Insure.1 comes in and plays a role and integrates this whole network and kind of builds this whole chain. And I'm not going to talk about ONDC because, again, enough has been said about how quick and how open it is and how standardized that reduces timelines on the system. What's happening, and Tanuj is going to show you the exact demo of how it's going to work, but just a quick explanation of what's happening. There are these standard protocols that search, select, confirm, fulfill, and support. Search and select is what is happening on the platform or the buyer app, where the consumer is choosing an option and choosing that option and is entering a sector where it goes into all the suppliers. So if there are multiple insurance companies at the back end, this request from this buyer is going to these multiple insurance companies who then responds through a confirmation, and then there's a fulfillment based on the confirmation that comes from these insurance companies. All of this built on standard protocols. And this is where, and this is how this whole system is orchestrated in terms of a buy. A good example would be a demo that we are happy to show you. Tanuj? Yeah.
Sure. So this is loan journey that a user would go through. Right. So typically, as applying for a digital loan, you provide some profile information. What kind of time do you have? I'll just skip. Yeah. So basically, user provides the profile information. We pulled a bureau, which is a soft pull, doesn't impact the score. We run our BREs, to figure out if this user would be able to serve, get served by the network of lenders that we've got onboarded through ONDC as well as direct integrations. And then we, poll the ONDC network to figure out if, once the BRE has been cleared, if this user would be able to, would be served by the lenders that are on the network. Typically, we'd receive, an offer from the lenders within about a minute or so. The user is then shown a list of lenders who are, who have the offers made for that particular profile. And the user is then allowed to, accept an offer, right? So, sorry. Yeah. And this is the point at which we have a, what the hell? So this is, the point that the offer has been made. That's the point at which we ask, if the user would like to bundle the insurance and, protect themselves from any eventuality that might happen.
Yeah.
I think just let it run. Yeah.
And this is where the offer comes in, and this is where the selection would possibly happen. And after this is where the request goes in through the ONDC rails, through the search and select rails that I was mentioning. And when once this is going to the lender now, and this is where you will see the insurance premium getting back on the KFC that comes in from the lender, where the insurance premium is mentioned on the portal. So the customer's then selected that. He enters his details, and this is the loan journey. So I'm just going to slightly go ahead on this one. And once the other details are filled, yeah, going ahead. And this is where the issuance of the policy happens, where you get the issuance has happened on the insurer's end, the confirmation has happened, and that is then coming in as a policy document from the insurance company that's there. In this case, it's Aditya Birla Health Insurance that's kind of got the policy on. Just showing you, yeah. And this is the certificate of insurance that tells you what exactly is covered in the policy, and just coming to the last part. Yeah. This is exactly showing you the amount of time it's actually going to take somebody to get a loan protection cover, but that's the insurance policy that's issued to the customer. So this is, as I said, a smooth and seamless journey that's kind of built on the ONDC rails. The same thing works across when it comes to, imagine the same journey across protections for savings. Imagine the same journey across protection for travel. Imagine the same journey across protections for logistics and e-commerce. Logistics, you've already seen an example. On the e-commerce side is the next, and the travel side is the next things I think is on the roadmap. Mohit.
Yeah, certainly, sir. Thanks a lot, Jayan and Tanuj. I think this was wonderful, and thanks to the Aditya Birla team. I think Mayank is here with us today, and the CARE team as well, for being the first few sort of insurers to kind of come and innovate on this front over there. I think we have about 5 minutes, and we already overshot the time. I would request Aman, right, who's been an early sort of believer, an early partner. He represents Clinic 360. And they have sort of built out sort of stack, AI-led stack on top of ONDC network to enable smaller distributors and potentially new breed of distributors as well. So over to you, Aman.
Hey, thank you, Mohit. Thanks, ONDC, for inviting us. I'll keep this short since I've got 5 minutes, and I'm going to start with a story. I come from a small town. I think the panelists raised a very good question. Why are we talking about 10,000, 20,000 odd insurance policies? Why aren't we talking about insurance policies that are very low ticket item? Now, if the insurance policy is valued at really low, the distributor wouldn't have enough margin to sell the policy. How can we solve for that problem? The case in point that I want to bring is Anju. She's a household worker. She earns 12K a month. She maybe is covered under a government scheme, but yet again, when she gets hospitalized, there's nothing that's going to take care of her wage loss. There's nothing that is going to provide her the consumables and things that are not covered. Now, the products that Anju needs are those small, low-ticket item products that we're talking about. The benefit of having a standardized rails is you remove all the inefficiency of those products being really expensive. I'm just going to take a minute to talk about this section. We are a registered corporate agent, and I wish I would have met Mayank and Kartik back, that we wouldn't have gone through the process of procuring the license. It took us 2.5 months to integrate on ONDC and 6 months to procure a corporate agency license. The process, all the corporate agents, all the brokers, they are very manual operated, this limited products that they have. Now think about it, there's a lot that has been talked about the combined ratio for insurers increasing and reaching beyond 100. 40% or 35 to 40% is spent on the distribution cost. Is there a way there could be new age of distributors who can come up and operate at a lower cost? That is what we are betting on. If you remove that software or the integration inefficiency, if you allow for those brokers to operate at a lower margin, and it's not just getting access to product, it's about how can you solve for the problem for claims, how can you solve for their endorsement. A corporate agent in a tier 3 town operates with at least 10 administrative resources. That's 20K a month. Those expenses are real expenses, and that's why they're not able to bring down the operational cost. Our bet is to get over it. Clean360 is a platform that is built for this distributor. We are completely on DPI rails. We are integrated with ABDM, and we are also integrated with ONDC. ONDC allows us to offer catalog to these distributors, and ABDM helps us to provide claims. Our fundamental belief is insurance distribution would not survive on its own. You'll have to provide claim as a service, and which is where a platform like us can enable those brokers. I won't take long. This is how Clean360 looks like. We are completely on DPI with just powering our platform with AI. So the benefit is, let's assume if you are a distributor, right now, if your OPEX is really high, if that OPEX is at 40%, if we can reduce the cost, your margin still remains the same. Your margin remains the same. The insurers can put those money in the risk pool where it should be, and that's how it's a benefit for the ecosystem. I'll just show a quick demo. What happens when you build on a standardized rails? The demo is about, so just a progress. We have brought in 2 brokers right now, 4 are in pipeline. A single broker to get an API kit, it takes weeks, if not months. They have to spend 1.5 lakh rupees to a software vendor to get that API kit integrated. We are completely making it zero. So our go-to live time, if you are building on ONDC, is 48 hours. We are not taking any upfront cost on integration. So if you are a distributor out there, please, we'd be happy to talk. And here's the demo that I want to show. This is entirely built on ONDC, and we would want to show what the advantage of AI would be. This is a replica of me who's trying to sell an insurance policy, and this replica is connected to the ONDC network.
पर्सनल हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस एडवाइजर। मैं ONDC जो कि एक गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का प्रोजेक्ट है उस पे बना एक AI एजेंट हूं। मेरा काम है हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस को आपके लिए सिंपल बनाना और आपकी जरूरतों के हिसाब से बेस्ट पॉलिसी ढूंढने में हेल्प करना। आज मैं इस जर्नी में आपको गाइड करूंगा। तो शुरू करने के लिए आप बता सकते हैं कि आप क्या ढूंढ रहे हैं?
मैं हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी ढूंढ रहा हूं। This is me as a customer.
ग्रेट। तो एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस में आगे बढ़ने के लिए क्या आप प्लीज अपनी स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकते हैं? इससे मैं आपको और अच्छे से गाइड कर पाऊंगा। और याद रखिए, मैं आपकी पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन ना तो देख सकता हूं और ना ही स्टोर कर सकता हूं। परफेक्ट। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। आप अपने ब्राउजर में hbrbrokers.com ओपन कीजिए।
This is one of the brokers that we took on live.
तो हेल्थ आइकन पर क्लिक करें।
मेरी यहाँ अंडरलाइन इलनेस दिख रहा है, इस पे क्या करना है?
हाँ, यहाँ आपको अपनी पहले से मौजूद बीमारियां जैसे डायबिटीज, ब्लड प्रेशर, हार्ट एलिमेंट्स है जो लिस्ट में नहीं हो उसे सेलेक्ट कर लीजिए। बढ़िया। अब आपको नीचे करेंगे।
All the products that you're seeing are live on ONDC. We have worked with Aditya Birla as the first health insurer.
Awesome. मैं देख सकता हूँ।
The idea over here is those new age of brokers can significantly operate at a lower operating margin, can allow for low cost insurance product to reach from the part of India that I come from. And I'm very happy to have a word with any distributors out here. Thank you.